Hello, everyone, and welcome to Plate Stack Chat. If it is your first time here, my name is Jason, and on this show, I find some wonderful people and I bring them on for a fun chat. And today, I have two incredible women in the world of fitness. So, first up, we have someone who's been to the CrossFit Games 6 times as an individual and makes a heavy barbell look like nothing more than an inconvenience. She's also a master of prehab and the brains behind the All Heart Move Better method. Getting ready to make a return trip to the Rogue Invitational, it is the incredible Doctor of Physical Therapy, Amanda Barnhart.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me, Jason.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on, first of all. Appreciate that.
Intro.
So I always say that the most research I do is for the intro. That's the bit that's planned. After the intro, things fall apart. But the intro, I've got that covered.
You nailed it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's end the show now. No, we can't, because we've got to bring on our second guest. So joining Amanda and myself is one of the fittest Scots I know, having been to the CrossFit Games as a Masters athlete 4 times now, picking up a first place finish in 2022. And this weekend, you can see her at Proving Grounds, teaming up with another incredible Masters athlete and former Masters Games champion in Kelly Friel, who she has already picked up from the airport today. So not just a great athlete, but a nice person too. Please welcome the fabulous Ali Crawford.
Hi, yeah.
Hi, Ali. Oh, was it stressful doing the airport run today?
Yeah, but only because I'm a terrible driver and I hate driving on the motorway or the highway. So, and I have to get on a motorway to get to the airport. But yeah, all good. I don't normally work on a Thursday, so fairly relaxed morning, and then I picked Kelly up in the afternoon, early afternoon.
And then you went straight to the gym, you were saying?
Straight to the gym, because let's be honest, she lives in one side of the UK and I live in the other, so we haven't had much practice as a pair for our upcoming pairs competition.
That is true, actually. Amanda knows about that, because I think you went to Wodapalooza without prepping as a team at all.
Yeah,
you were saying you were writing stuff down on your hands for what you needed to do.
I was really bad at just remembering all the logistics. I think it made me realize how much when I'm on the competition floor, I just do. And you can't do that when you're on a team.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
I got yelled at a few times by Brooke, but it was okay.
Oh, Kelly and I won't yell at one another. We've done a pairs before. It's just we're good friends. So I don't, even though we don't know one another in the sense that we don't train together, and we don't live anywhere near one another, we've built up quite a nice friendship over the years that we've been to the games together, and we kind of know one another's strengths and weaknesses just through being competitors against one another, I suppose. So it's quite nice, especially for me, not having to compete against Kelly Friel. It's nice to have her on my side.
Yeah, that's why you know all her strengths and weaknesses, because you've been sort of seeing how to beat them for all
the only reason I won the games in 2022 is because she wasn't yet in my category, my age category. I knew it was going to be harder the following years when she had age grouped up to my category.
How many years are there between you?
I think there's 2 years between us. I think I have, when I go up to the next age category, I think I've got 2 years, Kelly, feel free. That'll be the years I'll probably make it a goal to try and go and win again. Yeah, she's a really strong athlete, a really great friend, but as far as master athlete goes, yeah, she's certainly the best the UK's ever seen, and I would go as far as saying potentially the best master in the world. I mean, she's won it so many times as a master, and she's been so consistent.
Yeah. And so she came on the show shortly before going to the games, and it was the worst show I've ever done. And I still feel so bad about it. So you're going to have a really good time on the show, and then that's something you can hold over. But my camera just stopped working. We started the show, it was working for me, but in the comments people were saying, what's why is your camera frozen? Why is nothing happening? I was like, it looks fine. And it wasn't until way after the show had finished, and I ended up having my camera off for most of it. I spent ages trying to fix it and just let them talk. And I was like, you guys chat, I'll try and fix it. And I realized I'd put a load of stuff off of my wife's phone onto my computer, and then it was all trying to upload to the cloud.
Oh my gosh.
So it was just sucking all the data and Wi-Fi, and so that's why. So sorry, Kelly, it's my wife's fault. But that's,
The risk of live podcasts, I suppose. I think this is the first live podcast I've ever done. Most of the time, I think it's been like pre-recorded and cleverly edited.
cleverly.
So yeah.
Yeah, all the awkward pauses are just taken out. People are like, "Wow, Ali, she's really quick. She's so fast. Always with a comeback." Amanda, you're old hat doing live podcasts. You've done, you know, I've heard you on Savan. I've heard you on Clydesdale. You've probably got more experience than me. So if you want to take the lead, we'll sit back and.
I have done a lot. I'm just good at answering questions, I think.
Good at answering questions. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about coming up with them.
Yeah. Who did I had Bethany on, Bethany Flores on the other day, and we had Ella, who is a adaptive athlete in the seated with hip category, and also a canoe, like para canoe medalist, gold, like European gold medalist or something like that.
Yeah.
Bethany had come prepared with questions. She had written down questions. She said it was like getting reps for practice of doing these kind of things.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So that really impressed me a lot. Amanda, how is life going for you at the moment? Because I know the last couple of times I've heard you on shows, like you've had so much go on over the last 2 years like with injury, with family, changes in the dynamic there. Obviously we've got Rogue coming up. I'm just wondering how settled you are and how life's going at the moment.
I'm pretty settled. I haven't had much time to be settled. I wish I had more time for Rogue, I guess. But because this summer, like I didn't make the games for the first time in so many years, I was like, wow, I can take a break. Like I've never taken a break to where I didn't, and Ali, I'm sure you understand this feeling where it's like I didn't worry about my fitness. Like I actually didn't. Most of the time when I take breaks, I still run and I still do gymnastics because those are like my biggest weaknesses, and I never let myself not do them. And for the first time ever, I did that. I did not run and I did not do gymnastics all summer for 3 months. Like I just did movement. And then I got this Rogue Invitational invite and I was like, I want to go. Like I wanted to go. And also I'm like, you can't turn this down, right? And the timing was good from the perspective of that Kingston had just gone back to school. He's in school all day now. My home gym just got finished. So like those two things happened at once. And then I got the invite and I was like, it felt like fate from a perspective of like, I have time to train because he's gone all day. And I have this new home gym, which I'd been dying to have. That'd been part of the issue. Just like my schedule was really hard last year. So yeah, that happened. And I'm like, this is great. Time to get back to training. I really wanted to get back to training. It's just like kind of kicking myself for the true break that I took because it's been really hard getting back to everything after like a serious time off.
Corey asks, do the Barnharts have a barn now? So
yeah, we have several barns.
Yeah, several.
We
That's
do,
why
yeah.
it's the Barnharts because there's multiple. The S is a plural. Wow, yeah. I mean, hey, I'm someone, if I'm taking a break, it's probably a proper break. I don't think I've ever taken not a proper break. So, but then I'm not going to the games or Rogue or
right. There's always this
even proving
pressure
grounds.
to stay a little bit good. So like last year I ran a half marathon and like that was because I wanted to keep running, but I also wanted a break from the gym. So there's always a reason.
Were you expecting the invitation from Rogue? You so like when they put out the kind of calculations and that, were you looking at that? Were you sort of kind of?
Well, at that point, yeah, I knew I was going to get one, but I don't remember what even, I don't even remember why I looked at it because I would have never thought that I would be on the list just because I didn't make the games this year. I didn't do good at the games last year. I didn't compete at Rogue last year for the first time. So like it's been a little bit off. For some reason I looked at it. I was like, oh, they redid their qualifying system. I looked at it and I was like, I'm 11th. And I told my husband, I'm like, I'm getting an invite to Rogue. And he was like, how do you know? I'm like, because I'm 11th. I'm like, I'm going to get an invite. And then like that same night they sent out emails. So it was it's pretty quick.
I'm not sure I like the lack of faith and confidence Wes has. And you saying, I'm getting an invite. He's like, well, how do you know?
Well, he doesn't know how it
I'm
works.
Amanda Barnhart. I'm getting an invite. Just leave it.
It said we're inviting a minimum of the top 10, and I was 11th. I was like, there's no way I'm not getting, like, I know how their invitations work from the past. Like, if they say top 10, like, it's going to be like top 14 that get an invite. Yeah. Ish.
And, you know, if you're 11, it means you only got to take out one person to get that spot, right? So it's pretty
well,
easy
they say like it's guaranteed top 10, but like if you looked at the list, I was like, they want these people to come, like they're gonna invite them.
Yeah.
And like that's how Rogue does it. Like they, you know, they invite who they want to be there, and like that's their right because it's their competition.
Yeah. That's one of the few times where you like the kind of, hey, they can do what they want. It's their competition. Because you're like, this is really good for me that this is their competition. They can do what they want.
Right.
Yeah, normally we use that as like a complaint, right? Oh, you know, it's not really fair what they did. Hey, it's their competition. They can do what they want. But
right. If it's like, CrossFit, everyone's like, they can't do that. But if it's Rogue, they're like, it's Rogue. They can do what they want.
They're like proving grounds. I'm sure they would have invited you, Amanda. If
next year, Amanda.
I do have questions about that, Annie, because I'm intrigued. Also, you've just come back from, I mean, it feels recent, but it's probably not as recent as it feels to me. When was the games, the Masters games?
So the end of August it was this year. I think like the last couple of days of August, first couple of days of September. Yeah, it doesn't actually feel like that long, but I suppose as you say, it's been like 6 weeks. We've been back.
I think it's because we had the adaptive in between.
Yep.
And so it just sort of kind of bled into that as well. Yeah.
Yep. No, that was good. It was so obviously I had a really successful 2022 and I won it. And the year before that I had placed second. And I felt in 2021 when I came second, I had made a few mistakes in the competition. So I felt that year I was good enough to have won it. So as much as I was like hugely like, I couldn't believe I had podiumed and I'd come second, there was a part of me that was like, oh, I could have won it this year. So I kind of I kind of feel as though that I made it kind of after COVID, I made it the goal. I age grouped up. So I went into the 45 to 49 category, and I'm a little bit of a CrossFit geek, and that I analyze leaderboards, and I knew there was a bit of a drop off in terms of like strength numbers and kind of fitness levels particularly in the women, not so much in the men's division, but particularly in the women in the 45 and above category. Whether that's perimenopause, menopause, I don't know, or women's lifestyles just become more busy and they don't devote as much time in their late 40s, I don't know. But I had kind of noticed this kind of drop in terms of levels, and I was feeling really fit basically. I trained all through COVID. I was fortunate enough to have a home gym myself, so I'd kind of kept my strength numbers, my fitness levels, so I kind of had made it a goal to get to the games in 2021 again, and I felt in pretty good shape. So yeah, I trained really hard for that, and then when I just missed the first place, then I kind of, like Amanda says, I didn't like, I don't know. I don't train like an elite athlete, obviously. I can't at my age. My body can't cope with it. So I don't feel like I had like an off season at all. Like I came home from the games and I was already like, I want to go back next year and try and win it. So I was like, I'd probably had about 2.5 years of like quite heavy training. Obviously made the goal in 2022, and then I ended up rupturing my bicep. In 2023 during I think it was during the quarters actually, or just in between quarters and semis. So I was out in 2023. So obviously when I qualified again this year in 2024, I was obviously excited, but with the whole new format for Masters, like for me personally, like I'm going to admit I was not a fan of the whole idea. Like part of the attraction for me was the fact that we were competing alongside at the same event, albeit it's different events, but we were in the same arenas at the same time. Like you saw like in the athlete warm-up area, like Amanda and all these kind of elite athletes that you really kind of look up to and you see as like the true athletes of the sport, and it just felt as though you were part of that. And I felt as though having a Masters in their own kind of right, obviously you lose that. And for me personally, like I don't actually care about social media coverage or live stream coverage. Like it's more about the experience of being there, like for me. And so I wasn't really, when they were saying, oh, we want to give Masters their own platform and we'll get better live streams and stuff like that, it's not really important to me. I loved being part of the CrossFit Games with the elites. So obviously qualified this year, and I knew that if I didn't take my spot that I would regardless of how the comp went, there would always be that part of me that was like, I wish I'd gone, I wish I'd experienced the first year of the new kind of format. But yeah, it was a really good competition. I had a lot of fun. But for me, it didn't have the same glamour as the years previously. It didn't have the same feel of professionalism for whatever reason. I don't know. I probably enjoyed it more. Whether that was because I didn't have any pressure on myself this year because I knew where my fitness levels were, so I knew like I didn't go into it with any kind of real like big goals of winning or anything like that. So maybe I had less pressure on myself. I also liked the fact that there was a lot more UK athletes because when it was like top 10, top 20, particularly in Masters, like the Americans basically take most of the spots. So there's only like maybe 1, 2, 3 kind of Europeans and stuff like that. So it was nice that there was a lot more UK athletes, and that made the experience more fun, getting to share it with them. But no, I really enjoyed the competition. I have to say, it's just such a long way to go.
Yeah.
It's like Amanda and all the top people are now coming over to this side of the world for Rogue, I suppose. But yeah, it's a long way.
Yeah, quite literally this side of the world. I mean, they're going to Scotland. It's not even. Yeah,
it's so good for Scotland. I mean, it's so good for the UK that this is coming to the UK. Like we're so I feel as though, I don't know whether it's because we're a few years behind America, but people still love the CrossFit here, like love to watch it. I think you only need to I watched a lot of the semi-finals this year on YouTube, and all of the Europe was absolutely it was a sellout. There was thousands and thousands of fans there watching, and then you're watching Northwest America and it looks like the stands looked empty. I don't know whether the Americans have been watching it for so long, they're maybe not as excited by it, whereas we're still like mad keen for it over here. So yeah, it's really cool.
It'll be really interesting to see Rogue, because we've had, oh, by the way, I've just put up Corey's comment about I could listen to Ali speak all day. Her accent is choice, so I just
hope you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm trying to speak slow.
Yeah. Oh, well done. Thank you. Is that for me? That's for Amanda more than for me.
That's for me, probably.
Yeah. We will come back to some travel tips for Amanda's visit to Scotland. Actually, Amanda, have you ever been to Scotland before?
No.
No. Okay. So this is part of the reason why I thought let's get Ali on. Let's get a local. I know you're not from Aberdeen.
Yeah, it's just the 4 hours away.
Yeah. Are you driving or are you flying?
I'll be driving up. Yeah. So excited for it. I think I've got brilliant seats as well. I think our seats are right in the finish line.
Oh, are they?
Oh, that's
I'm
cool.
so excited. I'm so excited for it.
Well, if anyone else wants seats, I don't know if they're brilliant seats, but it's a seat. I am
you've got
selling my
seat,
ticket. So I didn't back myself. I didn't have confidence that I would get the media pass, so I bought a ticket, and then I got the media pass, and now I'm like, great, I've got a ticket that I don't need. So I'm trying to.
I think you'll probably manage to sell it close to 10. I don't even know. Is it a sellout? I mean, I honestly don't know. I think there'll be a lot of people there. I know. Well, I certainly personally know a lot of people that are going. So I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the temptation is I might discount the ticket in a week or two and be like, guys, please, someone buy the ticket, because I don't know. But there's also that part of me in the back of my mind that's like, what if I've messed something up on the media pass and I get in and they're like, sorry, you've not got, and I've got a flight and I've got a hotel.
You've got your backup ticket.
Yeah. Although I do think I could just film a whole series of me being outside the gates of Rogue and not being able to go in. And just messaging all the athletes that I've spoken to in the past on this show and being like, Alex, can you come out? Because, Justin, can you grab Alex and bring her out here so I can interview her outside the Rogue Invitational? I think
it's just mad that all these top athletes are going to be competing in Aberdeen, Scotland.
It is funny, isn't it? And it's funny. So it's funny because of all the complaints about the idea of how hot the games was going to be. All these people being like, oh, the games is going to be so hot. We can't it's going to, how many outside events are there going to be because of how hot it's going to be? And you're like, well, go and try Aberdeen in November and see if you're complaining
indoors,
about how hot
I don't think you could do anything outdoors in Aberdeen. It'd be very cold.
Yeah. Well, so I was saying that we've had Fit Fest in December last year. We had athletes come over. So you had some of the big name athletes for for kind of an invitational thing, and it was that team format. It
Oh,
was all
yeah.
a little bit different, and as you said, like the semi-finals always, do really well. And back in the kind of sanctionals days when Sid had like, well, there was one year where they had Froning, Fraser, and Toomey. I want to say Tia was there as well, right? Yeah. So they had like all the big names at that sanctional. There we are. But it's interesting to see like a whole event move over and see what happens. So get ready for a whole load of new fans screaming your name, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
You might not understand what they're saying, but
right. And like, because strongman, strongwoman is very popular, like that's going to bring a whole new crowd as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool.
Yeah, I interviewed one of the strong women that's going to be there, and like there was an interesting thing that I hadn't kind of clicked, because following CrossFit for so long, you sort of forget about discrepancies in other sports a bit. And they were saying like for them this is huge because they have the same prize purse as the men, which has like never happened.
Wow.
Whereas obviously in CrossFit we're like, yeah, that's what we expect. Is if we're putting on an event, we wouldn't imagine that the women are going to earn less money than the guys. So I thought that was really interesting. So it'll be it's going to be very exciting. Are you flying straight into Aberdeen, or do you have you booked your flights yet?
Yeah, I'm flying to Aberdeen. It's a long travel for me.
Yeah, it's very close though to the airport, which is super convenient.
Like 5 minutes or something, I heard.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I'm excited. Where are you flying? How kind of early are you flying in?
So I leave Ohio at like 2:00 on Saturday,
right?
And I get to Aberdeen at like 12:00 on Sunday. So it's almost.
Ali has no sympathy for you because she's like, yep, that's like when I have to go to the games.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm going so early. So I have we don't start till Friday, and I get there Sunday. Like I'll be fine by the time Friday rolls around.
Yeah, I normally anytime I've gone to the games, just through my work and my family situation, obviously my husband works and stuff, and then I have my youngest kid's got some additional support needs, so like it's a bit harder to kind of juggle everything. So like normally when I go to the games, I literally fly in like the day before practically. I think I'd fly in normally the day before check-in. So you have like check-in, a day off, and then start. So yeah, but I try and like, I think because you're up early for the competition, and normally if you're flying, obviously, if you're flying west and you wake up early, don't you? So the jet lag's not the worst. You're tired at night, but you're tired at night after the competition anyway, so you're straight to bed. But yeah, I normally I don't normally have the jet lag. Obviously, the jet lag eventually hits me once I'm on my way home.
Yeah.
It's a flying visit. I just basically fly in for the competition, fly straight back out again.
Yeah, but now I have understood from your previous comments that up until this year, your only goal was to get a backstage pass to the CrossFit Games. That was the only reason you were doing the Masters events anyway. Like, I don't care about media coverage. I don't care what we're doing. I just like to be able to hang around backstage because I'm one of the Masters athletes and see what Amanda's doing. That's my plan.
That's funny.
I find it really interesting. Of course, I would hope she's not boating to Aberdeen. No, I assumed she was flying to Scotland. I just, international flights. I didn't know if maybe she had to arrive in a different airport. That was.
You won't be able to go direct, Amanda, though, will you? You'll have to.
No, I'm pretty sure there's 3 flights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not fun.
I don't know if Aberdeen's like the biggest of airports. Like I know Glasgow and Edinburgh are fairly. Edinburgh is certainly. They fly direct to quite a lot of big American cities now. But Aberdeen, I've never been to the airport, but I don't imagine it would be as big as Glasgow or Edinburgh. We're way up north.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember where I fly in before Aberdeen, but it's a very short flight, so somewhere close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no time to, see the sights in between. It's just jump off one plane onto another one.
Definitely not.
I don't know. I'm flying Bristol to Aberdeen, so that is a like half-hour drive up the road to the airport, and then 2-hour flight, and then 5 minutes.
I think there'll be a lot of people from England because I think there are a lot of domestic flights within the UK. Like I know Kelly's going Southampton to Aberdeen, so a lot of the major, obviously English airports do fly into Aberdeen. So I think, and you can get a lot of budget airlines as well. So I think I'd imagine it's going to be the fans in the crowd will be a lot of like English as well as Scottish people.
Yeah, it's going to be some really fit planes. Just a lot of planes full of people that Aberdeen won't know what hit them.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, what's going on here? That always happens. Like I remember like flying into Miami for Wadapalooza, the people at the airport is like, what is going on here? Why are there so many people with muscles?
Yeah, that happened to me and Kelly. We were in Whole Foods in Birmingham, Alabama, and I'm not sure it's the fittest place in the
No,
world. And
definitely not.
they were like, "Is there some kind of fitness competition?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yes, for old people."
Ellie, did you just do an American accent?
I don't know, did I? Amanda,
I'm pretty
how
sure you
good?
did.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I got it. Now, Amanda, you obviously have to do a Scottish accent.
I was gonna say, don't even ask. Don't even ask.
Because fair's fair.
There's a few versions, I have to say.
Yeah. How I mean, it seems like a stupid question, but hey, there are no stupid questions on this show. Do you think people are going to struggle, these international athletes that come to Aberdeen, just to like get around the shops and stuff and speak to people?
Nah, like it's not like going to a foreign country, like if they're going to like France or Belgium, but I definitely think that like if Amanda were to go to like a shop and strike a conversation with like somebody working, then it like the accent's quite thick. And I
Yeah,
think the
you're gonna
further
a lot of
north
like,
you go,
what?
yeah, the further north you go, the more the thicker the accent, if you like. So yeah, I definitely
Especially
think
if they talk fast.
yeah. Well, actually, I think like I'm from like the west coast of Scotland, like kind of central belt into west coast, and we're known like kind of around about Glasgow. We're known for being really fast talkers. I think it becomes more like it sounds more Scottish. I think the further north you go, and I think they have like a lot of words like we special words that they use for things that, that even I probably wouldn't even know. So yeah, I definitely think there's going to be a little bit of excuse me.
What I really like is in your describing that they have some special words they use. You used that they have some wee special words.
Wee special words.
So you're already incorporating your own special words into.
Yeah, I suppose. Oh, everybody knows what wee means, though, do they not?
You know what wee means, Amanda?
Yeah, I know what it means. Like I understand in context, but it's not something that I would
just
use.
Small, right?
Little,
little, small.
Just a little bit.
I don't think it's a problem, but I've seen, like the Graham Norton show or something, and he'll have like Kevin Bridges on, and Tom Cruise, and Kevin Bridges will be like telling a story, and you'll see all these American celebrities like not at all
no idea what he's saying,
following what he's talking about. So I'm always curious. I'm excited. I'm hoping we've got lots of Scottish judges, and they'll be like trying to explain the no rep. And
they will. Yeah, you just gonna hope you can hear what number you're on at that point.
I remember I did regionals 1 year as part of a team, and it was the first year. So we were in Madrid in Spain. That was where it was being held, and our judge was French. And we ended up, I can't remember what happened. It was like synchro toes to bar or something, but obviously it was a French person, but they were counting in English. And like, say they got to like 30, and then like they were like 30, and then they were like 21. They basically went back to 20. So we ended up doing like 10 extra reps.
Oh
but the heat at the moment, you just have to keep going. And then we appealed it afterwards and we got credit for it. But it must be so hard, like if you are like counting in a foreign language, even more stress as a judge,
especially because the way the French do the numbers anyway is insane. Like if you learn the French, like it's like 30 and 1 2, it's like they add, it's not like we'd say 31 32, that kind of thing. It is funny because I think about this sometimes with like the semi-finals and that, because obviously in America you've just got so much landmass, so you're going to have these big semi-finals and everyone is from America, so they're all probably speaking English as their first language, or even if it's not their first language, they're very used to speaking English. And then you go to like a European semi-final, and where people are from, they're from different parts of Europe, so they've all got different languages, and you're kind of having to accommodate that. We were at UK Champs a few months ago, and there was an athlete that had come over from Italy, and I was just speaking to one of the workforce, and we were just chatting, and this guy came up, and he's asking her some questions. He's just really trying, and she can't help him. She just cannot help him at all. And she just like looks at me in desperation. She's like, there's no way you speak Italian, is there? And I was like, well, actually, I lived there for 10 years. So yes, but so I was able to help. But I was thinking, if I I was just randomly, because I was around shooting stuff there, I was like, if I wasn't there, I don't know what she was going to do, because this guy didn't speak English really almost at all. She
Wow.
didn't speak any Italian. And he was like, what are you going to, yeah. So,
And the
but that
language
won't be a
thing's
problem.
the language thing is a big thing. Like this year at the games, there was I think they were Brazilian actually, but a couple of ladies in my division who didn't speak English. So obviously, when you're corralled and the guy's going over like again, like the flow of the event and stuff like that, like you're trying to listen, it's hard enough like for me, like listening in with all the noise happening and following what's happening, and then these poor girls, they'll be nervous enough and they're relying on a translator, like listening, translating back to them. It must add to like the nerves of the competition if you have to do that, for sure.
Yeah. Have you ever, Amanda, have you ever been to a comp that's been like hosted somewhere else in another part of the world that maybe the first language wasn't English?
No, I've been to Australia, but they speak English there, so
Well, yeah,
kind of similar to.
kind of English.
There was no issues with me understanding anything there. I've traveled to Sweden because I have a friend from college in Sweden, and I've been there twice actually. And the language barrier there is really, really hard. Most like younger generation Swedes know English, but they don't always like to speak it. So they understand you, but they don't, So like for me, I was there for my friend's wedding and, just all kinds of stuff. And I was just so many times where I just felt lost or traveling. Like at that point, this was years ago before I traveled so much for CrossFit. I wasn't as great of a traveler as I am now. And I felt so stressed traveling in countries that don't speak English, just trying to follow signs and ask people for help. And yeah, so I imagine at a competition that would be very
hard going.
It's just another thing to worry about. You don't need that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard you talk about kind of getting very, particularly like the last games you're at, like getting very nervous beforehand, very anxious sort of, and like struggling to kind of keep food down and things like that. Was that sort of specific to the last kind of games because of other stuff going on, or in general, do you get very anxious before going out onto the competition floor? And is something like Rogue the same, or is it more just the games that really kind of works you up?
I've always been nervous. Like that has always been me. Like even when I did sports in high school, I remember like feeling like I was going to throw up before track meet. So like that is me. But it definitely has gotten worse over the years. I've actually been trying to figure out like why and what's going on with it. I think a lot of it was the last few competitions I hadn't felt like myself. So like if you go into it not feeling like you or, at the capacity of you, it's more stressful because most people know who I am and know what I'm capable of, and feeling like you're letting people down, or the expectations of whether it's the expectations I'm holding on myself or that other people are holding for me or that I think they're holding for me adds stress. When it's an out of season competition and there's less pressure, it is definitely a little bit easier, but at the end of the day, I'm still hard on myself and still have expectations. So I think a lot of it has had to do with the last couple of years of just not quite feeling like me every time I show up to compete.
Right. And I'm curious if Ali, if you have any similar kind of like, because the way you were so nonchalant talking about the games this year, sort of like, well, I went, but do you anyway get the same anxiety, or are you pretty kind of?
No, I like a few people have said to me, like Steve. I remember when Stephen Fawcett, the UK athlete and coach now for HWPO, I remember him saying like, you just literally brain in, like you have no idea what's going on. Where do I warm up? What time I want to? I don't know. Even the years where I went in and I had personal goals, I totally relate to what Amanda's saying about. Obviously, she's a far higher athlete than I am, and a far more well-known athlete. But for me, the thing that gives me the most anxiety is knowing like other like not wanting to let other people down. It's not even so much like I know I'm going to go out and do my absolute best and that's all I can do, but I hate the idea of other people having these really high expectations of me and me not fulfilling that. And I guess obviously as a master athlete, as you say, like probably the most successful Scottish athlete. So I kind of feel a bit of pressure from the Scottish CrossFit community just because I have had success. And then there's this expectation of doing it again and stuff like that. But it's interesting what Amanda says about her getting more like kind of nervous and anxious, like almost the better she becomes and the older she becomes. Like I remember as a child, like I used to suffer terribly. I did gymnastics and I was so nervous. And then I did dancing and cheerleading. And I do remember being really nervous about events and shows and competitions. Whereas the older I've got, whether I just manage it better, I'm not sure. My husband, he actually does quite a lot of like mindset and NLP type work with other people, but he's never done anything with me. And he's basically like, you probably don't need it. And what he teaches people is he teaches people how to like find anchors to like anchor their nerves and to help them refocus for competition. And for whatever reason, like in my older years, I've found my anchors, and I'm able to stay really relaxed right up to it. And I suppose when it comes to CrossFit, like it's harder. Obviously, I can imagine it'd be so much harder at elite level because it's so much harder. But like for me, like I know what I'm capable of. It's like I know what I can do. You practice so many hours in the gym. Like I know my gymnastics capacity. I know my strength numbers. I know I can work hard. I know I'm as fit as I could be going into competition. So it's almost like you can only do what you can do. So you can't really control what anybody else does. And like I think I'm quite good at executing my own game, basically. I definitely the first year I ever went to the games in 2018. That was my first time I qualified, and I was completely like, definitely massive imposter syndrome. Like I was like, what the heck am I doing here? Like I genuinely felt like I didn't belong. And I think I was more nervous then because I felt as though I was in over my head, almost like I was like, oh, I don't belong here. Like at that point, I was like, I only train, like I do the classes mostly, just a wee bit extra work. Why am I at the CrossFit Games? But after you've, like for me, once I had that experience, it was almost like, okay, well, actually I did belong there. And then I kind of reassess my own personal expectations of, so where in 2018 for me, I was nervous, but I went in with absolutely no expectations of where, like, I was just really thrilled to be there. But then the next time I went, I was like, yeah, I'm going to try and see if I can podium this year. Like, I did deserve to be there. I don't know. I managed to stay really calm, and I think in 2018 as well, a few workouts, I definitely got like pulled into other people's lanes. Do you know what I mean? So I was like caught up, like if somebody went out super hot and like I was like trying to stay with them. Whereas I think now, albeit I'm 48, but I've been doing CrossFit since I was 37. I know now like what I'm capable of. So as much as I still go out like I train, like my coach is always moaning about how I've got absolutely no idea to pace, but I definitely stay more in my own lane now than before. Like I was more concerned about what other people were doing, whereas I trust where I'm at now. But no, I don't really get that nervous, to be honest.
So a couple of things I'm taking away from this. First, what's filling me with joy is knowing that you started CrossFit at 37, which is how old I am now. So I potentially could be as good as you in the future. Yeah. So that's. I don't know if you've seen who's in my age group.
Yeah,
Ali, but unless I can beat Scott Panchek and Rich Froning, I'm in trouble.
You back yourself, Jason. You back yourself.
I would, yeah, sure. The other thing I think is interesting is that what's kind of funny is like the things that give you confidence seem to be the same things that make Amanda nervous, because she's putting the pressure on herself, being like, I know what I am capable of, and if I'm not delivering on what I am capable of, I'm anxious. Whereas you're sort of like, I know I am capable of this, and so, you know, I'll do what I can do, kind of thing. So it's interesting because it seems like it's the same thing, but you're just seeing it in sort of two different.
This is how you frame it, isn't it? I don't know.
But what do you think people? What you were saying, like, you know, people know. You think kind of you know what people expect of you, Amanda. What do you think people expect of you? I'm just curious, like when they look at Amanda Barnhart's taking to the field, like what do you think they're expecting?
I think they expect me not to suck when I show up. And the last few times I have. So.
Oh no, don't say that. The thing I expect of you, Amanda, that my favorite thing you do, I mean, favorite and most infuriating, can I combine the two at the same time?
Yeah.
Is
Sorry, I'm like chasing the sun. It's like everywhere.
That's right. Yeah, we won't be too jealous over here in the rain.
It's not warm. It's just sunny.
I just love how you see, like, when everyone goes out for like a heavy barbell, you just make it look like you're not even trying. Like, that's the thing that
That's
gets
what
me.
everyone tells me, but trust me, I'm trying.
I know you.
I'm showing it.
I've no doubt you're trying, because I don't think you could pick it up without trying. But it's just like you see, especially if you compare it to like like Olympic lifters in general. You know, they've got their whole kind of walk out to their little dance they'll go through before picking up the bar, and it will be like going out to the bar, stamp my feet a couple of times, slap my legs, like set up, and then they do their lift. And then I see you just sort of like sort of breeze up to the bar, bend over, here's the bar, now it's up on my shoulders, and you're like, what's this? Like,
I agree. Like, you say you're nervous. Do you get nervous for that type of event, Amanda? Because like you always look so composed.
Yeah, probably worse. Because the expectation, right, Jason? Like the expectation that I'm gonna lift heavy, and I don't know. I guess it depends. It depends where I'm at. It all has to do with where you're at with your training, and like, let's see, what's a good example? The last time at the games, 2023, when we did the clean and jerk and the snatch, like I was in a really bad place on the leaderboard. I had nothing to lose. Like I wasn't really nervous. Part of me didn't even want to go out there. Like I was having a lot of mixed feelings, but at the same time, I was like, I might as well go lift something heavy. Like, and I knew I could, because I had a really good lifting season that year. Like I had a really good training season up until right before the games, when my life went crazy, but my lifting was solid. So I was confident. Like I remember I snatched 180 on my opener, and then I snatched 182 to 207. And I'd never once hesitated, and I never once had any doubt that I was going to miss the snatch. And I wasn't even nervous. I was just like, do the same thing. It's going to feel heavier. You're going to hit the snatch. And I did. So like that was a true testament to my training and feeling prepared. Now going into semifinals this last year, another example, like my snatch was not good this year because of my shoulder injury. I was not able to snatch for most of the year. Snatching, especially, like as a confidence thing for me, the more I do it, the more I snatch heavy, the more I know I can snatch 200. I hadn't really this year. I had barely hit 175 a few times leading into semifinals. So going through that snatch ladder, I was just like, yeah, I knew I could hit it. I wasn't worried about it. It was just like, it didn't feel like me snatching. So that brings up the anxiety and the stress, because it's like the expectation is Amanda Barnhart's going to cross this snatch ladder, but she's not for reason X, Y, and Z that I know, but not everyone else is. I think that's where the stress comes from.
You need to give like Chase notes. So he's calling it.
But you don't want to make excuses.
By the way, can you just make sure everyone knows I've been rehabbing my shoulder before the snatch? So like their expectations is tempered to, like, yes, she'll make it, but you might see a facial expression this time, which is unusual, but we might see that. So my question then, going into Rogue, is obviously you've had this kind of proper off season leading up to it. Are you laughing at Corey's comment?
I'm laughing at Corey's post.
Sorry, let's just. So Corey is saying, I love being reminded that I still haven't snatched more than most female games athletes. Road to 200. Hey, sorry, I'm right with you. Corey is in your age group as well.
I see that, yeah.
And I've seen Corey's got what I saw him post up. He's got an event coming up soon. Remind me what that is, Corey, and we'll mention that. I have to get him on the show to talk.
Actually, I've just noticed, this is because I'm old and have terrible eyesight, but he wrote, she and I are in the same age category, 45 to 49, and he's written, are the bee's knees?
Yeah.
But I thought he'd written, have the best knees. I thought it was me, because they're a bit creaky now.
That's funny.
Yeah, they're the ones that just crack as you bend down to pick up the bar.
Just so you guys know, I only have like a couple minutes. I got to hop off because I have another call.
Okay, we'll jump in with this question very quickly. Two questions then I've got about Rogue, and then you can run away. To have a more important call, I'm sure. One is going into Rogue, knowing that you've had, on the one hand, you've had kind of this off season, which means maybe you're expecting a bit less of yourself, because you know that you've stepped away a little bit, and then this invitation, was unexpected until a point. And then at the same time, Rogue is traditionally a heavier competition. So people would be like, well, that's that's an Amanda Barnhart style competition, right? It's a bit heavier than the games, for example. So going into Rogue, how do you feel like with that anxiety? Are you calmer than before, more anxious? Please don't get anxious now.
No, I'm not more anxious. I'm kind of just like in the middle right now. Training's been going really well. I think the home gym, my new schedule, like the time off, all of those were really good things for me. So I've really enjoyed training. Because we know that gymnastics is not my strength and it's top 20 at Rogue, like I took 3 months off of doing it. I haven't been stressing as much about it. Like, to be honest, we know that those are going to be bottom events, regardless of what we did between the invite and Rogue. So we've been working a lot on the stuff I am good at. And I feel excited about heavy barbells and echo bikes and all of that stuff. Like my maxes, I have not been hitting heavy maxes by any means. But moving heavy barbells and workouts and being ready for that kind of stuff, I'm definitely ready for and very excited.
We're excited to see it as well, and we can't wait to see what twist they put on it coming out of Scotland.
I know, right? Like, what strongman event are we gonna do?
Yeah. I'm looking for a K-bar toss personally, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So it's like a giant log that they throw is the best way to put it. It's like lengthways, right? And then they run and launch it, and it's how far you can throw it. So maybe Ali can coach you through that a little bit before.
Gosh, not really tossed a caber.
Yeah.
All of those things though are so weird. Like no one knows how to do it, so it's not as stressful. Like that's way less stressful than a max clean and jerk, because it's like whatever. Like I have no clue what I can do, and no one else has any clue what they can do. So let's just go out and try it.
I love the idea that some random event from the Highland Games shows up, and people are like, "No, I think this is an Amanda Barnhart event. Yeah, I'm backing her on this one."
I mean, I think it's. I think there's a good chance there could be a kind of Highland Games style event. Sure.
There has to be something. Final thing then, are you traveling alone? Are you coming with family? Is Wes joining you? Are you who's coming to Scotland?
I'm traveling alone on the way there, and then Wes is coming a few days later. Because I'm going so early, he's not going to be gone all week.
He doesn't need to acclimatize.
Does not need to acclimatize. I wish he was, but
he's doing the Ali Crawford approach.
I'll have plenty of friends there. Brooke's gonna be there, and her mom and her sister, and so and my coaches will be there, so I'll be good.
And Ali and myself will be there as well.
So you guys be there on Sunday?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be there. I would be there. I'm flying on Thursday, so
okay, cool.
Yeah, just in time. Well, we'll let you head off then. Expect to be bugged by being tagged in some stuff in the future, Amanda, but don't worry about that. Ali, do you have any final questions for Amanda before we leave her to?
No, I don't think so. I was like, when Jason told me I was going to be on his podcast with Amanda Barnhart, I was like, oh my God, amazing. Just she's such a great athlete and so consistent, and I can't wait to see you in Rogue. Really excited for it.
Thanks, Ali. It was really nice to meet you.
You too.
She'll be at the finish line. She said that.
Yeah,
so.
With my I Heart Amanda sign.
I'll be looking for you. That's awesome.
Like, Amanda, remember me, Amanda? We were on PlayStation.
Play it back.
We're
I love
remember?
seeing familiar faces, so that will make me happy.
I'll come say hi for sure.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Amanda. We will let you get to your other important call.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Bye. Let me just change this. There we go. Oh, Ali, let's talk about Proving Grounds quickly.
Proving Grounds.
We've got a few minutes left, I guess, of your time, hopefully. So, who is organising Proving Grounds? Is it your gym?
No, it's not at my gym.
It's not your gym.
Well, it is the boys. It's the owners of my gym. So they started. They did a couple of Proving Grounds, on a kind of smaller scale before lockdown and COVID times, and then. So this will be their third year since kind of post-COVID, if you like, and it's just year on year got bigger and bigger. So 3 years ago, it was a fairly big competition. Like it was really well kind of supported by the kind of Scottish CrossFit community. It's a pairs competition, a same-sex pairs, and 3 years ago, as I say, it was really well supported by the Scottish community. But we just had it in our gym. We have quite a large gym. So last year, they kind of took it to the next level, and it was in the Scottish Exhibition Centre in Glasgow.
Right.
So it was a kind of much bigger event, and they attracted kind of like even more people, if you like. And they also ran, so they've come up with like a race which is more kind of not high rocks idea, but like it's more accessible for there's obviously a huge kind of demand now for like functional fitness competitions,
Yeah.
but not everybody is wanting to do CrossFit competitions with the kind of higher skill level, because even like in the kind of scaled CrossFit competition or an everyday level, it's still like a lot of the movements are still kind of you could consider them there's an element of skill required, albeit it's maybe less so than kind of an RX division. But so they came up with this kind of race idea. It's called the Gauntlet, which is same kind of idea as High Rocks, but just less running. So like using the ergs and kind of the more basic kind of functional fitness movements. So they ran that alongside the CrossFit comp last year, and it was really successful. So
Right.
yeah, it's kind of grown again this year, and they rebranded as the World Pairs Championships, and they threw a fairly healthy prize fund for the podium for the top category. So it's attracted a lot of really like a lot more like kind of serious athletes, if you like. So I think it'll be a really great competition. And like I say, they're in a bigger hall than last year, so it's going to be quite a big deal. It's really cool for like the Scottish community, but I think I certainly think that the boys are hoping that eventually it'll be like a kind of staple in people's CrossFit calendars in terms of like if those that wish to do a pairs competition. I know their like their programming and stuff, like they spend a lot of time getting it right, and they want to deliver a really kind of high quality competition so that everybody that's in it kind of really has that kind of like serious competition kind of vibe.
Mhm.
They feel like they're part of something fairly big and special. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think it'll be a good comp.
Yeah, and I think making it accessible for people as well that that want to do something. Because
Yep.
I mean, High Rocks, apart from like the fact that they seem to sell out all the time as well, and it's such a kind of big undertaking, or maybe you've done it and you're kind of like, well, I've done that, and
Yep.
yeah, I could do another one, but I've done it. Oh, Jesus. I'll get back to Augustus in a minute. Jason, no, we're not talking about. We just said it's not High Rocks. That's the thing.
No, it's
Augustus,
definitely not High Rocks. Far too
you're
much running in High
yeah,
Rocks for any kind of true functional fitness person.
yeah.
I mean,
Augustus,
I've
you're
definitely.
late. Go back an hour. We've just currently, we've just had 45 minutes chat with Amanda Barnhart about Rogue, and now we're talking about Proving Grounds. We're saying, I think it was with Emma McQuaid we were talking about that idea of like trying to do a competition and it just being, as the level has gotten higher and higher, it's sort of made it almost inaccessible for people to do their first comp, because it was like, oh, here's the scaled one, and you look at it and you're like, well, that's more maybe than an RX
Yeah,
class
still
that
got
I attend.
snatching and toes to bar in a scaled competition. Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah, there's an event in Cardiff coming up. I think it's Throwdown, I think it's called.
yeah.
But that's a similar one where it is no rig at all, no snatching. So it's and they have like four events basically, and one is endurance and one is strength and one is, and it's that idea of like pretty much it's not your skill level that's going to be the thing. It's sort of how hard you can push or how much you can hurt, and that kind of idea. So I think it's been nice. I'm seeing it a bit more. I did see, I can't remember what event it was, but somewhere had posted up like the weights for a snatch in their competition, and it was like the scaled weights. I was like, they're
Too heavy.
heavy,
Yeah.
like that's heavy. And I put up a post about it, just asking people like, what would you put as a scaled weight for a snatch? And it was interesting how many people were like, I wouldn't put a snatch like
For
that.
a skilled
Like,
athlete. I mean, I don't know. I think oh, it's a hard one, isn't it? I think
yeah,
if you're entering a CrossFit competition, even as a scaled athlete, if you've got to the stage where you've been doing CrossFit for a period of time and you've got to a level where you want to compete, even as a scaled athlete, I think a lot of people, a lot of skilled athletes can snatch. Um, not particularly heavy maybe, or like maybe couldn't full snatch but could power snatch. But so it's hard because you want it to be challenging for people. I think like the competition proving grounds are running the gauntlet. Like everybody can do that. It's rowing, it's ski erg, it's do you know what I mean? Burpees, it's lunging, it's echo bike. Every single person can do it. Like whereas if you are entering a CrossFit competition as a scaled athlete, there is this expectation that you have like a certain level of skill.
Yeah.
Albeit you maybe aren't like at the strength levels or whatever, or the skill levels to kind of move up. But I think people want to compete. People are taking their exercising. Well, a lot of people. I mean, obviously, it's the trend. It seems to be the trend now, but particularly with the younger people, like people are taking their training a lot more serious, I feel, and it's it's an output, isn't it, for people who don't do CrossFit at that level yet, where they could do a scale competition. It's given them an opportunity to go and compete in a fitness event, and I think it's really nice doing it alongside. Like what Proving Grounds is doing is, I have absolutely no doubt that there will be people this year that are doing the gauntlet, which is like a simpler kind of race in terms of like how heavy it is and skill level, that potentially are going to they're going to watch the CrossFit competition and going to be like, that looks a whole lot of fun. And maybe that will be their goal next year, will be to move over to the CrossFit competition.
I quite like that as like, because I think that's an interesting thing as well, isn't it? Like, because the other complaint you hear a lot is when people are like, people that do scale, they do the scale division because they cannot do certain movements that are required for the RX, but they're incredibly fit.
Yeah.
And so they like absolutely destroy everyone in the scaled division. And then there's always this kind of, oh, they shouldn't have really been in the scaled because like I've seen them, they're not a scaled athlete, they're an RX athlete. And you're like, yeah, but they can't do a full snatch. And that was one of the movements kind of fix. So I do like the idea that you do just it feels like you do need a variety, right? You need some events where you're like, no, if you do CrossFit, you should be able to, you should be practicing these movements.
Yeah.
And as you said, maybe you can't snatch as much as, Amanda Barnhart, for example, but you can at least get through all the positions needed in order to do a full snatch.
I think for me, like I've done quite a lot of competitions, and I'm not just saying this because they're my gym owners and coaches, but the programming,
partially,
the programming for Proving Grounds, for me, they really get right, because exactly what you're saying. So like they've released a few workouts, like in the scale division this year, there are toes to bar, but it's a pairs workout and it's at the end of a workout. So what they're basically saying is, if you're super fit and you can maybe do a few toes to bar, it gives you an opportunity. People might PB, like get their first toes to bar. They might have one of the people in the team that can do it and one that can't. Some people might not even get to that stage in the workout. And it's the same, like in the intermediate category, it's the same kind of idea. Like they have like the end of a workout's got bar muscle ups in it. Many intermediate athletes now can do bar muscle ups, not all, but some can, but it's at the end of a workout. So it's almost like much the way that the open used to be, I suppose, whereby it was like there's like a build up throughout the workout of like skill levels or like weights. That we have one of the workouts that we have is like a clean ladder. So again, it's the same kind of idea where like everybody's like can participate and get through the first few barbells, and then for some maybe scaled athletes or intermediate athletes or even RX athletes, the last bar is going to be super heavy for some. So I like that idea where there is that element of, I'm quite sure there was a number of everyday athletes that when the workouts come out were like, oh my gosh, we've got toes to bar. I was not expecting that, but a lot of everyday athletes can do toes to bar. And it's a great opportunity at the end of a workout to maybe get your first toes to bar, or to be able to say, "Oh, I did toes to bar in a workout." So I like that idea.
Like I see a lot of people practicing it. When I'm at the box, I see a lot of people like, maybe they've done the workout and then they'll spend a bit of time while they're going to an open gym, and they'll just practicing some drills that they've been given so that they can try and get their toes to bar, and that maybe they finally get them. And you're like, oh, I've been working all year on my fitness. I've been working on these movements. And then you go to a competition and they're like, well, you couldn't possibly let you try and use it because that's too advanced. And you're like, well, then why have I been working so hard? Because I'm not RX yet. I can't do all these other stuff, but I've
people
added
are
to
working
my
on these
arsenal of
things.
movements. Like I want to be able to use them. So I think that's nice. And as you said, like, hey, if you can both do toes to bar, you're going to get more reps.
Yep.
If one of you can do it, at least you'll get some reps.
Chip away, yep.
And maybe you've never done it, but they talk about like the magic of the open, right? Like
Yep.
perhaps you never could do it, but you know what? You've got 2 minutes left on this workout. Just try.
Yep.
Try
Go
your
for it.
best, and
Yep.
maybe you'll get
Yep.
one. And imagine, and you've got photographers all over the place. They're taking pictures.
Let's be honest.
If anything's going to motivate you to get your doses off,
Half the reason people are doing competitions these days for content, I think.
yeah, you need a new
But
profile picture. Go.
well, Kelly and I, so last year there is a masters category at Proving Grounds, but we decided last year to do our X, and we're doing the same this year. But like I say, I think they've kind of stepped it up with the kind of rebranding and with the prize pot and stuff. So there are some really good athletes in our X. So we definitely not that we're in over our heads, but I don't know. I think this may be our last year. We may have to drop down to masters next year. So
Or
it's
you
going to
have to
be
have a word with them and be like, look, guys, I love what you're doing. It's great that you're growing this competition.
well,
But
that's the thing for them is programming. Like they've got like semi-final athletes, and they've actually got like a couple of games athletes that have been to the games as on a team. So like trying to program, like for example, for the top 20, which is the RX, when you have got games level athletes, semi-final level athletes, full-time athletes, but also in that category you have like Kelly and I, who are both almost 50, and then you have other people who aren't quite at that level. There is quite a difference between like the top 5 and the bottom 5 type thing. So it's getting the programming right, whereby it's challenging enough for like your top competitors, I suppose, but it's also manageable for the people that are signing up that are maybe kind of bottom of that division. Obviously they've got to get success, so it's kind of getting that right. But no, I think it will be. I'm actually really excited for the event. The workouts look great, and a partner workout like pairs is always great fun, particularly if like you're paired up with your friend and stuff like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all goes. But I can only see it growing from here, to be honest. But
well,
yeah,
now that we've talked about it, I mean, obviously,
oh,
it's
of course.
going to skyrocket, isn't it?
Clip this for the Instagram.
I'll do that now that you've said it. But it's interesting because again, like when we were talking with Emma McQuaid about this, she was saying that she'd got invited to a competition and then they'd like programmed it almost for her, and it was like, she was saying like the workouts were tough for her.
Yeah.
Like, how is anyone else going to do it?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And it's funny because there's that balance in it of being like, yeah, but if we don't make it challenging for them, like it will be too easy for them and they'll run away with the competition. And you're thinking, yeah, but if you're making it challenging for them, they're still going to run away with the competition because no one
exactly.
like if you go to it, I mean, well, I'm going to assume I'm not going to any competition. So I'm putting my like kind of, I'm an average weekend warrior. I like doing some competitions and I go to a competition and there are games athletes, whether they've been on a team, whether they've been, to masters or whatever. I'm probably thinking they're going to win. Like, I'm going to try my best, but it's been documented because also you have to remember that we all did the same open, potentially quarterfinals, maybe even semifinals. So it's not like, well, somehow they got to the games and I didn't. It's they earned that spot, right?
Yeah.
So if you show up, you kind of, so it's, potentially you're battling for second place.
Yeah, you're managing your expectations.
Yeah, but the idea of being like, well, they better make it incredibly difficult for them. And you're like, but incredibly difficult for them could be impossible for you.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you rather just have a fun competition that you actually get to kind of finish the workouts, do well, enjoy yourself, and then probably they get first place. And, maybe you get second or third. Congratulations.
I'm quite excited to watch. I think there's some really good pairs. And well, certainly in day one, Kelly and I are in the first heat, so we'll get to watch the top heat. And I think there'll be a few really good races. I don't think so. Last year, Jennifer Muir and Ella Wilkinson were in it. So, wow. I mean, there was a lot of really fit people, but they did kind of pretty much run away with it. To be honest, they were always getting first. I think they won just about every event.
Yeah.
But then the final, going into the final, it was the top 5 pairs went into the final, and basically second, third, fourth, fifth, it was anybody's. The final was quite like, it was like anybody could have finished on the podium, but they ran away with it. Whereas this year, like there's some really big, like good people from down south coming, and like I say, there's a couple I think of girls from Finland. So I think that it's going to be a bit more competitive for the podium spots. So I'm quite excited to watch that. To be honest, it'll be really good.
Did I see that it's getting streamed?
Yeah, so they live stream it. I mean, they do like I don't know. I've only done a couple of UK competitions, and it's been a while. Like I've done Rain Hills, and I've done what was the other one, the European Championships. But it's been a
Okay,
while
wow.
since I've done before the shit hit the fan with that one.
Well, which
But yeah,
time? Because it's happened twice now.
I had to admit, I had quite a good experience there. I enjoyed the competition, and it was it ran fairly to time. And everybody got their prize money, so yeah,
Yeah.
it was okay. But I know the boys with Proving Grounds, like they are like their attention to detail is second to none. Like they wouldn't want to do a competition where, like a lot of times, like I've done competitions where it's a matted area for your lift, and then it's just like the gym floor hall, or the hall floor, and there's like not mats under the rig and stuff like that. Whereas Proving Grounds, like the whole thing's matted out. It looks really professional. They have the live streams. They have like a full media team coming in, and the live stream, like I mean, I don't know how many people watch it. Who's interested? Certainly, all the athletes like to watch themselves back. But like last year when I went back to watch, it's so professional. Like
Yeah.
it is. I mean, I'll put it out there and I would say the live stream for Proving Grounds last year was probably better than the Masters live stream for the games this year. And they've got Stella Bartram doing the MC. She's obviously super
I,
good at what she does. Very, very experienced.
I want to say it's like Cobalt Media.
It's
Is it?
Cobalt Media, yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, they do a fantastic job. Yeah, and I think it's very professionally run. Like I can say with confidence, Proving Grounds will run to schedule. Like it feels, of all the competitions I've ever done, it kind of feels like the most professional in terms of like the athletes getting corralled and everything's very
That
strict with
is
time
so
and stuff.
funny from someone who's been to the games. Like, of all the competitions I've gone to, and I've been to the games,
Yeah.
it definitely feels like the most professional. You're like,
Yeah,
wow,
it's a bit. They do. It feels really professional, and I'm excited for this year because there are like really good athletes coming from out of Scotland for them to experience it, and I hope that they have the same feeling because it would be great to grow the competition. Like I say, because it is run so well, and there are so many competitions now. And like for me, like it's quite expensive to go to these competitions, and sometimes I think that, like I look at some competitions down in England and like it's a 3-day competition, but like day one is like one endurance event, and I'm like, do we really need that? Can we not just squeeze that in somewhere? Because like I'm coming all the way from Scotland, it's an extra day off work, it's an extra day in a hotel for like one event. So I think yeah, I like the fact that this is like we've got 3 workouts in day one, 3 or at 4, I don't know, because the last workout might be a 2-parter because it's not. I like the idea that it's just a 2-day competition and it's done, and it's done really, really well. And there's so many competitions now, so I think it's going to get to the stage where people are going to pick their favourites because you can't do them all because it's so expensive to travel and
Oh, I
to
know.
even to
People were
enter.
asking me if I was coming up to Proving Grounds. Somebody said to me the other day, they're like, "Oh, you're going to come up to Proving Grounds?" And I'm like, I mean, I can't really afford to go up to Scotland twice, so
Yeah, well,
close
next year,
together.
if
Like,
Rogue comes back to Aberdeen next year, we need to kind of speak to Rogue and get them to align it better. So
yeah. No, it's just, I mean, it is funny because I've had people like somebody came up to me at an event recently. They were like, "Oh, when are you going?" Because they were going to be at some events that were like abroad and stuff, and they were like, "When are you coming to this one? When are you coming to that one?" I'm like, "You do realize I'm losing money being here, right? Like, you realize that
time off work.
this is costing me a lot of money, and I'm not getting anything back. And when I'm at these events, I don't even have a chance to podium and earn some money. Like,
Yeah,
doesn't matter how fit I am. I'm
I
going
don't
home with
know.
less
I
money.
think there might be a Masters prize pot this year for first place. So get yourself
But I'm just there
signed.
filming. That's the thing, you know. I can't afford to go to Scotland once a year, much less twice. But yeah, I know, Chloe. I'll have gone twice this year.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
because I was
well,
at CrossFit Glasgow for week 2 of the
of
Open.
the Open.
Yeah, I did my little UK tour of the Open.
I need to come to CrossFit Kilbride next year.
Yeah, maybe I will. I would love to do it again. It was great. I went to Dragon week 1,
Yep.
so Andy Edwards Box, UK CrossFit manager Andy Edwards, coach of the
Kelly.
wonderful Kelly Friel,
Yeah, I
Andy
know
Edwards.
Andy quite well, just through Kelly, yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully should be coming on here when I finally kick off my affiliate episodes, which I've been talking about and just hasn't happened because he ended up, he had somebody go into the games or something, and so he was really busy. I don't know, and all the other stuff he does. Yeah, and then and then week 2 was Glasgow. Week 3 I did locally at CrossFit Bath, so it was sort of a nice
nice mix. Yeah,
I need, and sorry Northern Ireland, but the Open's only 3 weeks now, so that's not my fault.
No.
Next year maybe.
A lot of boxes in Northern Ireland and Ireland, though, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I if I do it again, maybe that will be
over there. Yeah,
that will be instead. It was just because I live so close to the border of Wales as well. It was very convenient to be able to just drive to
nip across to Cardiff.
to Wales, and exactly. So but hey, there we go. Exciting. Okay, Proving Grounds. People can go and watch that. They'll be able to watch you and Kelly
live stream it on YouTube. Yeah,
dominate the field is what I heard.
Who's Kelly and me? I think survival.
What I also love is
survival's our goal this year.
Earlier you were like, I don't put pressure on myself. I know what I can do. It's harder when you're with when like somebody else is putting pressure on you. And I'm thinking, is she talking about Kelly? If I mess up for my own stuff, that's fine. But if I mess up and Kelly's upset, oh dear.
It's yeah. No, I don't get me. I'm not nervous for Proving it. I'm actually really excited to do it. To be fair, really excited. I really enjoyed it last year competing with Kelly. It was great fun. And the workouts this year look really good fun as well. Wow. Apart from the squat clean ladder.
Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be.
I don't have the legs for that, Jason.
Yeah, but you've got the best knees.
I don't have the legs or the knees for that. I've got a really good partner though.
Yeah, she could do all the hard work. You could just cheer her on. Well, Ali, it's been lovely chatting with you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Amanda. That's not here anymore, but it was lovely chatting with you as well.
It's lovely for me to meet her.
Yeah. Well, now when you now she will like pull you backstage at Rogue and be like, "Come on, Ali, let's come and meet all my other friends." And, the dream. If anyone is interested to know, I will be back on Friday for Plate Stack Chat. Not tomorrow, next Friday, with the fittest man in the UK, Harry Lightfoot. So good catching up with him. Seeing his experience at the games.
You get the guests, don't you?
Somehow, Ali. They heard you were coming on, and they were like, "Yeah, fair enough. I'll come on." And then next Monday, that will not really be Plate Stack Chat, but it will be a live show again on YouTube. But that will be I'll be joined by 2 representatives from BF3, so talking about the British Functional Fitness Federation, because they'll be heading off to compete at the International Functional Fitness World Championships. So it'll be just a general chat about that competition, but then also kind of what the BF3 is trying to do and what the International Functional Fitness racing sort of thing is trying to do as a whole, and how they're not working against CrossFit. It's just a different thing. It'll be fine. It's all very nice, all very positive. So thank you again to Ali and Amanda, wherever you may be or whatever important call you may be on. And I'll hopefully see people again next week. And we can end there, Ali. We can end